The Florida Gators are back at fall camp, and DJ Lagway's got the boot off.
You are Locked On Gators, your daily podcast on the Florida Gators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Locked On Gators, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thanks for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free, whether it's in the podcast and on YouTube. Happy Friday. I'm Brandon Olsen. Find me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with New York Giants on SI. Today's episode of Locked On Gators is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. And we spoke about this on, I think it was Tuesday, where DJ Lagway at some point last week, it might have been Monday, but DJ Lagway at some point last week got banged up, was in a walking boot. And I know that people are talking about, how severe it is. This is a thing that when the injury first went public, we said it here, and it was reported other places as well. That actually, I don't even know if it was publicly reported other places, but we said it here that when the injury first happened, before it went public, I was told, hey, he's probably going to miss the first week of camp. Didn't think it was a big thing. I was told it's not a big thing, and the person that told me it's not a big thing is someone that usually doesn't sugarcoat. So to me, my thought was that's really not too bad. Missing that first week of camp, I don't think is awful, especially because, which Billy kind of mentioned or kind of talked about this possibility. But it was my thought was that this is your first year where you get to go, hey, we've got an FCS opponent to start the year, then a group of 5, then a Power 4 team. So at the beginning of fall camp, you've got the ability to go a little bit lighter than usual. So I'm not too concerned about it because I do think that easing into camp's a thing. Like I go to Giants camp and they ease into it the first few days and they get used to it, they get comfortable, and then they get further and more intense. And Zach Abelverdi reported that DJ Lagway wasn't practicing yet, but has taken the boot off. And I mean, I think for most people, that's a pretty damn good sign about his ability to return. Zach is also the one that when he was the one that broke the story publicly. And when he first reported it, he said, hey, like DJ Lagway's going to miss a little bit of camp if any time at all, or it's unclear how much he's going to miss, if any at all, which I felt like that kind of aligned with, well, probably missed the first week of camp and that's it. For me, the issue honestly isn't that he's banged up. Again, like it's football, and I know like people will talk about the injury prone stuff, and some people will harp on it, but sometimes things just happen, right? And if they are unrelated, I'm not going to say that they are unrelated. I'm not going to say that they're related. I'm going to say that I don't know the specifics of DJ Lagway's medical history. I'm not in the room with them with the exam. But I will say that whether they're related or not, it does seem like not all of the injuries that have happened or that he has dealt with are injuries that are super concerning. The shoulder's been since high school. It's never cost him to miss time. The hamstring cost him to miss one game. And I don't know if this calf issue was partially because of the hamstring or whatever it is. I don't know any of that. My concern isn't that he's banged up. It's really not. Like I said, it's football. Guys are always banged up and basically never at 100%. All the time. Again, even if they're full participants, after you've been playing football for a few years and you have the schedule that these teams have, you're going to be banged up. You're going to be sore. You're going to be dealing with stuff, especially as you go later into the season where we saw it happen more this year than ever before. A bunch of guys opted out of the Senior Bowl and the Shrine Game because they played in the national championship 2 weeks prior. And you got less rest time. You're like there's less extended periods of rest there. And so guys now are especially just banged up always. That's how it works. It's a full-time job at this point, even if you're a student. So for me, the concern isn't that he's banged up. I expect guys to be banged up. For me, or not even concern. I shouldn't say concern. The issue isn't that he's banged up. The bigger issue for me is strictly because he was a true freshman last year, a very good true freshman last year, best arguably true freshman quarterback in the country. I can't think of someone that was better than him. So he was a true freshman last year, and the mistakes that he made were inexperienced mistakes, right? And the only way to fix inexperienced mistakes is to get experience. That's always been the thing. Every time I've talked about DJ Lagway, I've said, look, he was fantastic for a true freshman. Wasn't fantastic overall, but he's fantastic for a true freshman. The things that he needs to work on are strictly mental and experience things. And the only way to get better at those truly is to go out there and do it. Like get out there, step up and be able to play there. And so for me, my bigger issue is he needs more experience operating an offense and reading defenses. And you can't do that if you're not healthy. Or you can't do that if you're not participating in these practices more than just, hey, I'm doing stretching and jogging with the team. My hope is that once he's cleared, literally if they just go, hey, like you can do dropbacks and you can throw the ball, get him out there. That's my thought. Like I don't need him to be fully cleared to do everything. Get him fully cleared where he can go through a dropback and he can throw the football, and then get him out there and start running plays. I don't care if you've got to kind of be extra cautious with it. Like if you say, hey, we're not even going to, because oftentimes in practice, you'll see it's, hey, pass rush gets in and then you just one hand touch the quarterback. That's it. You just touch the quarterback and it's dead. That's it. Play's dead. I'm fine with saying, hey, once a defender gets into the backfield, we're going to blow the whistle. Tell him, do not run. Do not try to evade pressure. Do not try to extend the play. Drop back, throw the football. And just work on that. Just work on throwing the football against an SEC defense. For me, if that's the plan, that's cool. Like that's exactly what I'd want you to do. It allows him to do the things I need him to do, which are go out there, get experience, get reps. I know it's not live bullets flying, but it's better than watching it happen or watching film of things happening. It's going out there, seeing it from your eyes, seeing it from your perspective, and playing football. And so if you just get him out there and do that limited work, that's good with me. I don't need him to be doing a ton. I don't need him to figure everything out that he possibly can. Just get him out there and let him just play. Let him drop back, throw the football, call it a day. Defense gets in the backfield, blow the whistle. Don't care. I don't care if they are taking a bad angle and they're not going to touch him. I don't care if he can make a man miss. I don't care if it's a corner and you feel like DJ Lagway at what, 247 pounds he was listed as. I don't care if it's a corner coming in and you go, okay, well, DJ can brush that guy. I don't care. Second they get into the backfield, blow the whistle, call it a play. That's it. Just let him drop back, read the coverage, and throw the football. That's all I need. I trust that he'll go out there and play well. I do. But I want him to be elite, and I think the way to get him there is his mental game stepping up. And the way to get the mental game to step up is just let him go out there and play. That's it. It's honestly, again, it's as simple as that for me. We are going to talk about some position battles this fall camp when we get back with Locked On Gators. If you're trying to stay on top of your routine, whether that's workouts, long days on campus, honestly, it's just been brutally hot this summer. I don't know what I feel like it's been brutally hot. I know that you, me, everybody watching this, listening to this, we all live in different places. Genuinely, it's nuts, by the way, how this show's grown. But hydration, like it's just been hot. Hydration is where it all starts. That's where Drip Drop comes in. Drip Drop is a doctor-developed and scientifically proven for fast hydration. It uses the perfect balance of sodium, electrolytes, and glucose to help your body absorb fluids quickly, delivering 3 times the electrolytes and half the sugar of a leading sports drink. Right now, Drip Drop is offering Locked On listeners 20% off your first order. Just head to dripdrop.com and use promo code Locked On College. That's dripdrop.com, promo code Locked On College for 20% off. Stock up now before the heat hits even harder. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day every day. We are available daily and free, whether it's in the podcast and on YouTube. And we're going to talk about some position battles. Because don't forget, like, in an ideal world, fall camp, every job is up for grabs. That's the way that I know that there's guys where it's like, hey, like, no one's taking DJ's job, right? Like, there's stuff like no one's taking Jake Slaughter's job. All that stuff. Yeah, sure. But in an ideal world, I do wish that you can genuinely simulate the, hey, this person's trying to take your job mindset. Because that would be ideal. Again, I think that you see, I don't care who you are, if you're having a bad camp and someone's having a good camp, I'm not saying I'm going to bench you, but I want you to at least feel that pressure. Because pressure makes diamonds, right? And so I do wish that was legitimately the mindset there. One of the most important position battles, backup quarterback. And I'm not trying to say DJ Lagway is going to get hurt. In fact, I'll knock on wood as I'm saying it. I'm not saying he's going to get hurt. I'm not saying I think he's going to get hurt. In fact, I had this conversation the other day with someone where they were like, oh, well, your prediction for the team this year relies on DJ Lagway being healthy. And it's like, yeah, well, I'm not going to say he hasn't proven he could be healthy for a season because he's played 1 year. Like, he hasn't proven he can be, sure, but he hasn't proven he won't be either. He's played 1 year. That's it. So I will say that at least that I'm not going to predict an injury. I can't do that. I don't know that happening. So, but backup quarterback's an important spot, right? And regardless of whether or not you're predicting an injury, injuries happen. It's football. So backup quarterback, very important. I know that a lot of people want Tramel Jones already, but I'll be honest, outside of the rare DJ Lagway caliber quarterback, I don't want a true freshman backup there. I don't. Preferably there's someone with a lot of experience that you have there, but I don't want a true freshman there. Just because not only could you be getting your first snaps ever, but you could be getting them in games where you weren't anticipating being out there, where you weren't expecting. And if you do get shell-shocked and rocked, you're going to have a really bad day. Ask Aidan Warner last year. I don't think he thought he was going to come into the Georgia game, but he did, and it was bad. It was ugly. It was brutal. But I typically don't want a true freshman. I mean, everybody knows, I think, by now that my general thought is I don't want to be dependent on true freshmen. If you have guys that step up and develop and earn playing time, then sure. But I don't want to go into it going, hey, by the way, our contingency plan, true freshman. That's rough. That's not the way that I like to go about things at any position. I do think that it'll be Harrison Bailey versus Aidan Warner for QB2. And I don't know. I mean, the buzz around Aidan Warner is pretty positive, right? We had, I know, during the season last year was really rough and a lot of people checked out on Aidan Warner. I do think we got to nix that a little bit. I don't think Aidan Warner will ever be amazing, but I'm not going to take let me get this, redshirt freshman walk-on transfer quarterback from Yale in his first game ever against Georgia and his second game ever against Texas at Texas. I'm not going to take that as my definitive opinion of him. I've got no idea what he's going to be. I'm not saying that he's going to be great. I don't think he's got the tools to be awesome, but I do think that he's got the tools to be a serviceable backup here. Harrison Bailey, I don't know what he's going to be. I know that when I watched the bowl game last year for Washington, or against Washington, I watched him keep the offense generally on schedule, get the job done, moving the ball. That's all I need. So I don't care which one does it. I think both can do it. I'd honestly kind of prefer Aidan Warner just so he's a younger guy. Because neither of them have a ton of experience, right? Harrison Bailey's been in college for a long time, but he hasn't been playing for a long time. Aidan Warner at least played 1.5 SEC games last year. I'll give him that credit. That's fine with me. So I'd kind of prefer it be Aidan Warner because he's already played in the SEC games. He He's improved. The spring game looked good as much as I watched through a Twitter stream, as fun as that was. But I do think that he's also got, more time that he can be in the program, more eligibility. And so if you can have him as a long-term backup, that'd be perfect. And that'd be an awesome spot to have kind of settled at QB2. And hey, when Lagway's gone, if you want to throw him into a competition, throw him into the competition. Running back is not really a competition. Jadan Baugh, Jacoby Jackson as the top two. And look, I considered going into this conversation because I do think that fans have their preference of Jadan Baugh or Jacoby Jackson. But here's the thing. The fact of the situation is that, one, both of these guys are monsters. That's it. Both of them are monsters. And two, both of them are going to get a lot of reps. Sure, one of them will probably separate a little bit and get more of the reps, and that'll probably be Jadan Baugh if I had to guess. But both of them are monsters, and both of them are going to look really good. Excited for both of them to pop off. I think Jadan Baugh has a more, I guess I'll say balanced skill set, and I think that's going to help him separate apart, especially in the passing game. But honestly, I'm comfortable with both of them. If you want to split the carries exactly 50-50, or we'll say 40-40 and then 20 to running back 3, whoever that may be, then let's get into it. Which, by the way, I think running back 3 will be Katie Daniels. Should throw that out there. And then the wide receiver rotation for the Florida Gators is going to be really interesting because we kind of know the top 3, right? It's going to be J. Michael Sturdivant. It's going to be Aiden Mizell. And it's going to be Trey Wilson. I'm not putting that in order. I'm just naming them. But then after that, it's mostly open. I think that at this point, basically everybody expects Dallas Wilson to be the second X receiver behind J. Michael Sturdivant. I think that he, first off, before the spring game, I thought Dallas should have been considered X receiver too. After the spring game, I think everybody kind of considers him X receiver too. Then there's an interesting just mix of guys, right? You've got Vernell Brown III and Nashawn Montgomery are true freshmen. Tank Hawkins is coming back for another year with TJ Abrams. Muiz Tunkara just got on campus as well. Like you've got guys in there. Khalil Jackson, we'll see what his health status is going to be. But you've got guys like Vernell and Nay Montgomery are both guys that I think are capable of being inside out. I think Muiz is going to be an X receiver, so he's going to be at best X3, probably X4, depending on Khalil Jackson's health. So then you got Vernell and Nashawn Montgomery, I think are both guys that can be inside out. So I'm curious if you play them both, like you play them at both spots and you kind of just see who separates, if anybody separates at any position, or if you kind of go, hey, Vernell, we're going to keep you in the slot mostly here. Focus on that, specialize on that, crack rotation. Then we'll focus on expanding your role. Like, I wonder if that would be the approach. Because, I mean, especially in the slot, too, which I think Tank Hawkins is built to be a pure slot receiver. But Tank, TJ Abrams, do we see them just work in the slot exclusively? I think TJ's got a little bit. I'm torn here. I think TJ might be a better fit to the outside. But I think that having Tank's speed on the outside to just run straight and take the top off the defense, run a post, take the top off the defense, hit the seam, whatever it's going to be. I think having that's really scary if you're an offense. And so I'm interested to see what happens there. I do think that we'll probably see Sturdivant and Mizell as the starting outside, Trey in the slot. Then probably Dallas Wilson and Nay Montgomery, and then Vernell in the slot. I think that's the most likely outcome there. But I mean, even then, like I'm cool with that. That's speed, that's youth, that's exciting. That's what it is. We're going to talk about some defensive position battles when we get back with Locked On Gators. We've all been there before, right? You're logging on early, waiting forever for concert tickets to go on sale, only to lose your spot for a show that you've been dying to see. Live music should be about making memories, not dealing with the stress of ticket shopping and insane bots that go out. It's nuts. That's where Game Time comes in, right? Game Time makes getting concert tickets faster and easier than ever, and prices actually drop as it gets closer to showtime. You can save up to 60% off with their killer last-minute deals. I've been looking at some concert tickets myself. Might go see him, might not. The group is Sophie Tucker. I'm just saying. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Showtime and buying tickets for concerts and show tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code Locked On College for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code Locked On College for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Sometimes you stutter, right? That's what happens. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free by listening to the podcast and on YouTube. To wrap up today's show, we're going to be talking about some defensive position battles there. Also, as for leaving the stutter in the ad read, I don't edit basically anything. You're getting authentic Brandon Olsen here. I do feel like defensively we can also just kind of say the entire depth chart, really, like the entire depth, I guess, really. A lot of the starters we kind of have placed. Depth, I think, is wide open for a lot of guys. That's been the big knock with this team, right? Is not having that experienced depth. And so not having that experienced depth means that, hey, like the exact explanation is like, we don't know what we have, right? I was having this conversation with someone the other day where I was saying that not having experienced depth to me is the same thing as like not having depth. Because if I don't know that I have depth, that's bad. Like that's just how I look at it. If I don't know that I have reliable depth, then I don't trust my depth. And that's the same thing as having bad and experience. To me, I get it that there's different tiers to it, but really it's the same thing. I don't like being in that situation. But an actual position battle that I hope we do see is corner 2. Dijon Johnson versus Cormani McClain. And I will also say this, like I was talking about with, I wish that every battle was wide open. Like I wish Devin Moore was in this battle as well. I wish there was a possibility of Dijon Johnson and Cormani McClain as the starting outside corners. Not that I want that, but I do think that having those 3 go at it for 2 spots is another one of those, pressure breathing down your neck to develop, get better. And whoever performs the best, whether that's Devin Moore, Dijon Moore, Cormani, Dijon, Cormani, whatever it is, I hope that that's the true duo out there to start. Which again, I don't even know how much of a battle Dijon versus Cormani truly is. Because again, we could see and we could hear, yeah, it's a battle. Yeah, whoever's best is going to go out there. But how often do we see times where we go, oh, like, well, I thought this guy had a great camp and I thought this guy played really well, practiced really well, but he's not the starter because the guy ahead of him started last year and you don't want to bench the start. So just, I feel like we see stuff like that, not saying Florida specifically, that's every level of football. I feel like we see that a lot. And I hope that's not the case because I don't know if it's the case. But I hope it's not the case. Like, and also I will say this, oftentimes we can talk about, the skill sets of guys and we could go, oh, well, this guy's a better football player, right? And so he should be starting at this spot. But then you bring up the playbook and the leadership and any of the other things that these coaches look for. And it's like, that's stuff that we can't see, that we don't see. And we can judge based off film, but when they've been very open about those other things playing a factor in it, at a certain point, we can't justify or can't criticize everything, right? Because Billy Napier, during his fall camp introductory press conference, mentioned, hey, Cormani McClain's got to be a better communicator, needs to tackle better, and needs to know the playbook better. So like he's publicly said it. And maybe part of that was because he's like, hey, well, if he doesn't start, they're going to be breathing down my neck. And at least they know these are the things that I brought up. But I do think that when we talk about, these position battles and we disagree with who's starting, some of it does come down to things like that. And Billy's always been very open about that. So if Cormani does pick up the playbook and he does become a better communicator, he's got the athletic tools over Dijon. I think Dijon's been more reliable on the field. And I will say this, Deshaun Johnson is really freaking good at football. Like I know that a lot of people are focused on, oh, if Devin Moore can stay healthy, then he's going to be a great NFL pick. Deshaun Johnson, if he continues his development, he's also going to be really freaking good for an NFL player, right? And he's entering year 3. So I think that Florida right now at the top of this corner depth chart, it's really good. Depth is just a mess. I have no idea who's doing what, but if you can get Cormani to hit and push both Devin Moore and Deshaun Johnson, you're going to have like kind of an iron sharpens iron effect of these guys just pushing each other and making each other get better. Safety 3 is another spot. It's Hilton Stubbs, Lagonza Hayward, Michael Caraway Jr. I mean, personally, I would also say let's consider Aaron Gates for it. I don't think that's the outcome because I think I've been very clear. I think Sharif Denson is the best star on this team. I think he's one of the best stars in college football. Aaron Gates, also really good at playing star, but I'm trying to get everybody on the field at the same time. And if I can get Aaron Gates out there on the field with Sharif Denson, I'm going to feel really good about that. So I don't know if he's in the competition. I'm just saying that I would have him there. And he played a little bit of it last year. So maybe you can have that conversation as well. I don't know what would happen with Alfonso Allen Jr. from Baylor. I don't know if he's going to be truly in that competition. But right now, safety 3 behind Jordan Castell and Bryce Thorne, of course, is a battle, I think, mostly publicly between 2 true freshmen and a Swiss Army knife from the Sun Belt. And again, like when we talk about the group of 5 to SEC transitions, I'm not usually even talking about, oh, you're playing a different level of football. I'm usually saying that there's different athletes in the SEC. Like you can be a great separator against a group of 5 schools on average, right? There's obviously some really freaking good players in the group of 5. I mean, Sauce Gardner. And so you can be a really good separator against group of 5 athletes or the average group of 5 athlete. And then you come to the SEC and it's a different beast and you're not separating. We see it all the time with college receivers going to the NFL. They all of a sudden can't create as much separation if they're guys that separate using explosive ability instead of just craftiness. So Michael Caraway Jr., my same concern with DJ Douglas was different athletes. And if you struggle in some areas, they're going to get further exposed here. Like DJ Douglas, it was tackling was my big thing. Michael Caraway Jr., I think he could play safety. I think he could play star in the SEC. I want to see him go out there and do it against 2 guys that I know are great athletes as well, but are also very inexperienced. But also Michael Caraway Jr. is in year 1 here. Nose tackle 2 is another brief one because I do think that the way the nose tackle rotation is going to work out is it's going to be Jamari Lyons starting and then Mekhi Boyroe as nose tackle 2. I said this before. I'd have been perfectly comfortable with Mekhi Boyroe starting. I thought that for a true freshman last year, or I'd say perfectly comfortable, but I would have been willing to have Mekhi Boyroe as the starting nose tackle this year had Jamari Lyons not been good to go. Just because when I look at Mekhi Boyroe last year as a true freshman and I say, all right, well, now you've got more time in the defense, more time with the strength and conditioning program, I'd like to see you take those next steps. So Mekhi Boyroe, I do think will be nose tackle 2. I don't know, though, if that's going to include actually a battle, though, with Brendan Bett, who came over from Baylor after the spring, or with Tarfareese Brown, who last year didn't do much, looks like a freaking tank right now in the pictures we've seen. I want to know if that's going to be an actual battle there, which, again, I do think Mekhi Boyroe would win, but Brendan Bett, Tarfareese Brown, it would just be another way to get them on the field. But also, I think this year you're going to see a Florida Gators defensive line that goes, honestly, every position is going to go at least 2 deep consistently. And I'd be willing to say that you see a 3 deep, like they go hockey lines, basically. I think you'd be able to see teams or these positions go 3 deep more often than not. Thanks again for making Locked On Gators your first listen of the day. Every day we are available daily and free, whether it's in the podcast and on YouTube. We'll be back on Monday at the absolute latest. For Locked On Gators, I'm Brandon Olsen. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at WNS_Brandon. Find all my written work with New York Giants on SI, and I'll see you all next time.